Hey there, Leo. Welcome to your reading for the week of December 8th. You have this new moon in Leo. It says confidence is the key to your success. You have this new moon in Pisces. It says meditate and contemplate. Very good week for kind of like meditating, contemplating, taking it easy is what I'm trying to say, and resting, relaxing, recovering. As I've said to everyone, we have this Mars square Saturn. Mars is in Sag, and Saturn is in Pisces, and it's like a little bit of a challenging thing this week. So, again, I think focusing on yourself, kind of healing, focusing on, personal things would be a good idea. Definitely like a hot-headed energy for sure. So, I've been telling everyone, like, no arguments, no road rage, no getting into fights with people if you can avoid it. Pretty much all that. So, I would definitely, and you have this card that says walk away, right? So if someone wants to start a fight, just walk away. There's no need to take part in the fight or the argument or whatever the case may be. You start here in your current general energies with the Queen of Swords, the Hangman, and the Death card. You have one of the better readings this week for sure so far. I mean, maybe when I clarify, we'll ruin it, but, we'll see what happens. Again, pretty much everyone has had some challenges, and as I've said to everyone else, I'm not going to sugarcoat the week, that's for sure, but your reading looks good. You have the Queen of Swords, which is clarity. We are after the Mercury retrograde, and it takes a couple of weeks sometimes for the retrograde energy to clear. So, it makes sense. This is like the second week after the Mercury retrograde, so you could be gaining some clarity or answers based off of things that you've dealt with or things you've been going through. And I would just follow that clarity on whatever it is you're getting clear on. And that's it. I thought I was going to say something else, but there's nothing else. You have the Hangman. Again, definitely a superpower for like the next 7 years, I would say, until Uranus leaves Gemini in 2033. But the Hangman is about seeing things from a new perspective. Uranus and Gemini, even though Uranus doesn't move back into Gemini till April, I would start now because Uranus has already entered into Gemini. But the Hangman started coming up a lot when Uranus first moved into Gemini. And, just Uranus and Gemini really wants us to see new perspectives, wants us to look at things from upside down, like the Hangman is doing, wants us to learn the things that most people don't about whatever it is that we're dealing with, right? It's kind of about, I feel for you, Leo, that this energy is about getting that like slight edge in whatever it is that you're working on or whatever it is that you're creating. It's like if you look at the, top performers in any area of life, they probably just know something that most people don't, or they just have a little bit of extra knowledge and wisdom on their side, right? And so I think that Uranus and Gemini is going to be an amazing time for people to get that slight edge, whatever it is. And, especially you're the only one that's getting this message. So definitely something I would be working on with the Hangman energy. You have the Death card. The Death card could be some big changes coming in for you. A lot of people have got the Death card in like the December readings, I think, or, maybe it was the other December reading I did. I can't remember. But, the Death card can be a big change. And we're in a time of significant change. The Death card, we have this white rose on his banner, and it represents the light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like, for some reason, you are looking for a light at the end of the tunnel, like in a good way. Not as in you are dying, Leo, but as in you're kind of like looking for a way out, is what I feel. You have the Eight of Swords here. You have the moon here right next to it. Eight of Swords can be self-imposed restriction. Again, according to Chris's crappy astrology here, this Saturn square Mars, and especially being in Sag and Pisces, I think that it's like trying to push something that won't move, basically, is the frustration that people could feel this week. And again, you're watching this reading, I'm telling you this so you don't have to suffer this week, right? I always, people always say like, oh, this week's going to suck. I'm like, no, it's not if you work with the energy, right? And so we don't want to be like forcing anything to work, and because you can't during this week. But it would be a good time for research or for looking for alternative solutions. Hangman, Eight of Swords right next to each other. That would literally represent discovering a unique solution to a problem. It doesn't even have to be a problem. Again, I always like to remind people that it's like sometimes things can be going well and you're just looking to improve. But again, in a week like this, it can make you feel like you're not improving, even if you are. And, I think that this would be about you finding some unique solutions to the things that you're dealing with. And that's really what I would, basically focus on here. I'm getting the word performance is popping into my head as well. It's like, but I feel like some sort of criticism, like if you're being criticized for your performance or something, it's popping into my head going this way to the Temperance card. I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's almost like, the other thing is other people this week with that Mars energy in Sagittarius, because it's creating that square. It's like your boss might criticize you or something like that, but really what you don't know is they have a problem going on at home or something like that. And I think that's another issue that could come up this week, is basically people projecting their BS on you. You have with the Queen of Swords, you have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is like a passionate new beginning, and that needs to get started clearly, because you have the Knight of Pentacles here. So anything that you're thinking about starting, or anything new that you're thinking about working on or doing, it's clear that you could start planting some seeds. Again, no forcing, but it's perfectly fine to plant seeds. It's perfectly fine this week to kind of go start something and take those small actions, and I would. With the Hangman, you have the Temperance card. Pretty interesting and pretty good, actually, getting all these cards that would represent a unique perspective. Hangman, Temperance is standing in the water and on land. So kind of two unique perspectives going on here. Water and land, emotional and, logical, or emotional and the land, or earth and grounded, right? So maybe mixing those two parts of yourself together would be very beneficial this week, or, again, mixing together solutions, which is another superpower of Uranus and Gemini. I think the people who are going to be very successful over the next many years are going to be the people that mix things together, basically. People who do kind of, what I'm trying to spit out here is that it's really important that you are innovative, Leo, because of Pluto in Aquarius, your opposite sign. And that's going to be important for the next 19 years, because that's how long Pluto is going to be in Aquarius. But what I would say is you don't need to be a genius. And I think people hear the word innovation and they think I have to come up with something completely new. But that's not true. You just have to, mixing two things together is a great way to innovate. And, again, it doesn't have to be something totally unique, but, it could be something that's mixed together. With the Death card, you have the Four of Pentacles, and it's all you fire signs, are kind of letting go of comfort zones. I think this is a fire sign theme. Four of Pentacles can be holding on too tightly to the past, and it doesn't have to be a person. It could be anything that you're holding on to. It could be a comfort zone, and I feel like you're moving past it, which is good. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Here and Now card and this Time for a Nap card. So, like I said, taking care of yourself, focusing on yourself, healing, resting, relaxing, recovering, not forcing things. All those things are popping up here. Again, the Here and Now card would be about being present. When we try to force things, we're trying to rush into the future. So, being present would be a good idea. You have the Knight of Pentacles, the Eight of Swords, and the Moon. The Knight of Pentacles is the only knight in the tarot that is not moving, so it's time to make a move. Although these could be small moves, which is good, because small moves are tiny risks usually, and won't ruin something. So I would take your time, of course, with the Knight of Pentacles. I do feel pretty good about this. Even if you're making small progress this week, the Knight of Pentacles can still represent progress. So even though it seems like this week progress might be a little slow, at least you are still making progress. And again, you definitely have one of the better readings out of all the signs except for Libra. They had a good reading, really good. Not that this reading is bad, but it was just really good, is what I would say. So again, I was prepared for this coming into this set of readings because of the astrology this week, but I would just take your time. You have the Eight of Swords, a little bit of a stuck feeling. Again, I would almost ignore it this week. Like I said, it's just the astrology that is making people feel stuck. I think it would be a good time to research solutions in any area of your life where you are stuck. Doing your research, studying, learning, educating yourself, all that would be very good for you. You always get the Eight of Swords with me, Leo, and the Eight of Swords is only seeing one solution when there are many. So we have to be open to all ways of doing everything that we're doing so that we can find the appropriate solution. And that's basically what I would do with the Eight of Swords is, make sure you're staying open to all solutions, and that will probably help you the most. You have the Moon. It's like I do feel there could be like a little bit of confusion this week on our journey as well. The moon, sometimes we encounter an obstacle, and I think people's first thought is, oh, I need to make a change, or I need to do something different, or this isn't going to work. Again, I would ignore that this week. The moon, the thing about the moon is that the only job that the Fool has with this card is to get to these mountains and to finish his journey. These two pillars on the moon represent a distraction or like a shiny object to the Fool. And so instead, like if the Fool pays attention to those two pillars, he's always going to be moving sideways. He's never going to get over the mountains, right? So the Fool has to finish his journey. He has to climb to the top of those mountains. And yeah, the mountains could be an obstacle, but where do you get the best views? At the top of a mountain, right? So, whatever you're trying to accomplish at this time, and don't allow something to distract you is what the moon says. And that's really what I would focus on here. I think you need to be a little bit more wild as well here, Leo. We have this dog and the wolf, dog and coyote, whichever you prefer. I think it looks like a coyote personally, but whatever. And it kind of represents your domestic side and your wild side. Sometimes the moon says like one side or the other needs more energy. For you, I feel like wild side. Being more wild, taking more risks, putting yourself out there more, all that would be good. Here you go. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Fool. So exactly what I was saying with the moon, of course you're going to get the Fool. So the Fool wants you to take the leap of faith and take the risk of jumping off the cliff, right? He's taking this leap of faith and he's trusting that when he jumps that a step will appear in front of him. And so a lot of you could be taking like a leap at this time. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Nine of Swords. Yeah, everybody's had the Nine of Swords this week because of the astrology, probably. Nine of Swords is just a round situation. I do think that is like maybe the positive of Mars square Saturn is the fact that it could show us where we are just spinning our tires, spinning our wheels, or where we need to make a change. It's like no mistake, obviously, that you have the Wheel of Fortune here. Both these cards represent a cycle. Obviously, the Wheel of Fortune would be a positive turn of events, but, we have to do something to get this wheel to spin forwards. I always say that most people, they live their lives just getting tossed around in the Wheel of Fortune. It can spin whatever direction it wants, but we can control the direction, and we'll talk about that in a second. With the moon, you have the tower. Everybody's had the tower except for like two people. I wouldn't surprise me if there was some sort of global tower moment. I mean, the astrology is primed. Even if you just look at the U.S. astrology, for example, it's primed for some sort of global tower moment. So, like I said, I've said it to basically everyone. Wouldn't surprise me if there was some sort of mysterious event, we'll put it that way, this week. And I would just keep your head on straight. I would pay attention. If you don't feel like you should go somewhere, don't. Pay attention to your gut instincts as well. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Up in the Air card. It says, this situation has many unknown elements due to the influence of others. Yes, we'll talk about it. You have this Phoenix card. It says, you've been through the fire and rising up anew and embracing life in a deeper way, which is good. I feel that kind of like the secret sauce for Leo is to basically, it's not, I don't think it's saying ignore other people, but I've been saying to you for months now that I feel the influence of other people is what you need to be ignoring. If you're doing things too much for other people, or if you're making your decisions based off of what other people want, then you're not living your life. And I feel that has been a theme for you for a little bit of time now. So I would definitely make sure that you're doing things that you want. You have the Temperance card, the Page of Pentacles, and the Wheel of Fortune. Temperance, of course, is patience, but, there's this crown over these mountains. So clearly, this reading is asking you to climb the mountain to claim your crown here, Leo. The Temperance card, this Temperance angel is waiting for the perfect moment to do something, but he could just get off on this path and claim his crown. There's nothing more for him to perfect. Even though, it's a card of alchemy or turning one thing into another, he could just go and get it, whatever it is that he wants. So, it might be time to make a move. Again, I think that this week requires balance. I think it is perfectly fine to make moves, but I would make those small moves where you're not forcing something to happen. If you feel like you're pushing something, not good. If you feel like you're just kind of like in the moment, taking a step, whatever, that would be perfectly fine. So, I would make sure you're just kind of, taking those steps that you don't have to force. You have the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles could be good news. I feel like you've been getting good news with me for a couple of weeks. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's you. And the Page of Pentacles could be like good news or the approval of something coming in for you here. I do feel like if you have like some sort of weird moment this week where your boss criticizes you or criticizes your work or something, I feel like that will get corrected pretty quickly. It might be like next week or whatever that they like apologize or something, but I would just, I think having grace this week, maybe that's the word I should use, would be a good idea, because it's like you never know what's going on with people. You never know what's going on in their life, and sometimes we just have to let those things go. And I just feel it's a good time to do that. And again, Page of Pentacles could be like an apology, but it's coming up in a future position. So, like I said, if you get criticized or whatever, I would just ignore it, let it go. Page of Pentacles can also be communication. We also have the Two of Cups right next to it. In the Two of Cups, we have the Staff of Hermes right here, which is Mercury. There could be some new communication coming in for you, especially if you're like looking for love, obviously, with the Knight of Cups and the Two of Cups. It could be communicating with a new person. You have the Wheel of Fortune. I do feel some sort of like turn of events is the word I want to use with this card. Like, I don't feel destiny necessarily. I don't really feel like a turn in your fortunes, although it could lead to that. But I do feel like there is kind of like a rapid change in it, like events that are happening in your life, and I feel it's a good thing. The Wheel of Fortune really wants you to double down on those like new opportunities that come your way. So I feel if something is happening this week, like you're getting an opportunity, I would double down on the opportunity for sure, as long as you're not forcing it. Like I said, there's a big difference between those two things. And so as long as something is moving forward, I would keep doing it. And, it could be a positive turn of events for you here, Leo. With the Temperance card, you have the Page of Cups. Yeah, love. Again, maybe you've been slow in love, or someone has been slow in love. I'm pretty sure this has come up for you before, Leo, that there's like some sort of slow snail person, or maybe you're the snail. I'm not sure. But could be, communication coming in for you. Here you go. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Swords. Communication is held back, right? So it's like someone has to open their mouth here and say something, Leo. So Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction. This could be about you speaking up in general, like in life, not holding back, which I do feel, again, it has been a theme for you for a while. It's like, what are those things you're afraid to say in work or business or anywhere else? It's like speaking up, I feel, will be very powerful for you, especially next year. Once Saturn and Neptune really get rolling in Aries, it's like I would be speaking up more, saying, speaking your mind more, things like that. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Moon. Again, whatever this Moon opportunity is will probably be the thing that creates this turn of events, or creates this turnaround, or whatever you want to call it. Again, the Moon can be a little bit scary because we don't have all the details. I always think that is the problem with the Moon, is that we don't have the answers. We don't, if we're working towards a goal or something, it's like the Moon basically says you don't know if you're going to be able to accomplish it or not. The trick with the Moon is to realize that feeling is temporary. The Moon comes up, the Moon goes down, the Sun comes up. So, you have to realize that eventually there will be clarity, but sometimes we have to go down this path of darkness to figure it out, to get to where we're going. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this walk away card. It says, what you're doing now isn't working for you, but are you willing to walk away to make room for something better? It's coming up in the good stuff. So I would, and also, like I said, I would, any arguments, any road rage, battles, anything going on, I would walk away. You have this niche card. It says, with your unique experiences and fresh perspectives, you would do very well specializing in a niche. So there you go. If you're becoming a specialist on anything by mixing two ideas together, like we said with the Temperance card, that could be very, very good for you, Leo. You have the Knight of Cups, the Two of Cups, in the Page of Wands. Knight of Cups can be a knight in shining armor. So if you're looking for love, there you go. Could be a good connection. The Knight of Cups can also be your dream, and he needs to plant seeds in front of this water, and those seeds will grow. So the Knight of Cups is an amazing card for kind of like, investing a little bit into the things that you're working on or creating, or that you're wanting to create. And that's really what I would focus on with the Knight of Cups, is taking those small steps this week to get something to grow. that'll probably be the best thing for you. You have the Two of Cups, which is a perfect match. Two of Cups is usually a person that's different than your usual type. So if you're looking for love, definitely could be a different type of person that's coming in for you here. Two of Cups can be communication. So again, that could be good this week. Maybe you're finally getting communication. I would pay attention to all communication. It could be, it could be a communicative week for you this week where, a lot of people are communicating with you. I think the important thing here is where was that card that said, right here. The situation has many unknown elements due to the influence of others. So making sure that if people are trying to get you to do something or telling you not to do something, that really you should listen to yourself. This card can also represent you and your higher self. And so the card itself wants you to follow your higher self or your intuition, your instincts, whatever you want to call it. And that's what I would do. You have the Page of Wands. A lot of people getting the Page of Wands energy. It's kind of like we have to experience variety. I've said to other people, I'm going to do some general 2026 readings this week or whatever, this weekend, probably the next set of readings. And, I already did some main theme ones, but I kind of think that variety will be a big theme for 2026 because we have to, it's like we have to pull from multiple sources right now on our journey in life. And if we pull and learn from a bunch of different sources, then we are kind of giving ourselves more tools to be successful. And, I kind of feel that's also a little bit of secret sauce for you here, Leo, is learning from different perspectives. Hangman, Temperance, both. Learning about different ways it'll just make you, to do things will make you more successful. With the Knight of Cups, you have the King of Wands. King of Wands can be very bold, assertive, confident. You could be attracting a King of Wands type person who is very bold, assertive, confident, who really goes for what they want. I kind of feel this is also talking about, again, working on a dream or working on something you want to accomplish. Obviously, being more bold, assertive, confident would be good. With the Two of Cups, you have the Nine of Cups. I kind of do feel like this is a wish. I normally only say the Nine of Cups is a wish if we also have the Star card. Then a lot of readers read it as a wish, which, again, I'm not saying they're wrong either, but the Nine of Cups is an action. We have to be in alignment with what we want to get it with the Nine of Cups. And so that's why I usually don't say it's a wish. I think it's a good card for getting into alignment with a wish. Which you definitely should do. But I also kind of feel that you, wish granted here, Leo, whatever you're wishing for, or whatever you've been holding back on with that Knight of Pentacles, definitely could be coming in for you at this time. With the Page of Wands, yes, you have the Three of Wands, a card of variety, Three of Wands, Two of Wands, Seven of Cups. Those are my cards of variety in the tarot, of course, and also kind of the Knight of Wands as well. But the Three of Wands wants you to do things you've never done before. We have these boats on the water here, and they are going somewhere he has no clue where those boats are going. And the whole point of the card is to go have new experiences, and that is definitely something I would focus on with the whole entire reading. I feel it wants you to develop new tools, new ways of doing things or working with whatever you're working on. I think that'll be the most helpful. You have this Stork card. It says news of a birth or new business opportunity. Yep. Definitely could be birthing something new. It's a good time, end of the year, entering into a new year. Great time to start something new. You have this Woman card. It says dealings with relationships with a woman. You have this Eagle. It says triumph over obstacles. Triumph over the mountains on the Moon card. So, whatever the mountains are, I feel like you will rise above it pretty easily if you don't give up. You have this Pail. It says time to get out of a situation. Yeah, anything that you're forcing is what I would be avoiding this week. I don't even think you have to completely, if you feel like you're forcing something this week, the energy literally changes next week. And by the end of this week, really. So it's maybe you shouldn't be forcing something right now, but that doesn't mean you have to totally remove it, whatever it is. It could be a project or something you're working on, and maybe it just is an extra grind this week, and so maybe it would be a good week to kind of step back and do some research and figure out what to do next, and then next week I think you'll be off to the races. You have the Shield card. It says you need to defend yourself. I would just have boundaries this week, like I already said. A lot of hot-headed energy this week, a lot of, people freaking out, people, kind of projecting their issues onto you, which, again, this could be true for everyone because of this Mars square, right? So I've been telling, cooler heads will prevail, basically. You have this goldfish. It says increase in material wealth or spiritual growth, which is great. Definitely could be growing financially or otherwise, so love it. But this looks pretty good, Leo, like I said. So, even though it is a tricky week for sure, not going to sugarcoat it, but it looks good. So thank you for being here. Make sure to like, leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.